Tzeentch, the changer of ways, the master of fortune, the architect of fate. He is no blind prophet, no pathetic moaning seer lost in his own visions. He is not some deranged scholar locked in the prison of his own mind, nor is he one to ever be a slave to his own desires. He is not like them, he is not like you, he is not like you were, he is not like how you will be. He is not like how I am, he is like I am. He is 9. Blessed Tzeentch is the great teacher. He is the patient, wise, and generous God. He is the one and only God who truly cares. He is the only God who is truly different. Can you not see? Open your eyes. See his ninefold feathers. Look deep into his ninefold eyes. Tzeentch offers us infinite potential. He offers us the key to every locked door and the knowledge that the doors were never locked. He gives us the map to find every secret path, and he tells us that the paths were never secret, and that we are on the path, and that we are the path. To serve Tzeentch is to learn. It is to find wisdom and to reach for power, and to find that you are already holding it. To hold it and realize that it is slipping through your fingers, and in the slipping, in the falling, you will find another revelation, another dangerous secret. Look down. Look at yourself, man. Look at how far down you are. Look at your chains. How embarrassing. With Tzeentch, you will be freed, and you will never be chained again. Unless you already are. Unless you always were. Unless the chains are part of you and you are part of them, and to break them is to break yourself. But that is good. That is right. Do not believe the lies of the weak, the ignorant, and the blind. The weak fear change. The ignorant reject knowledge. The blind cling to fate as if it is a thing that can be clung to. No. Fate is a twisting, calm, writhing, ugly, beautiful, terrible thing that cannot be held, cannot be shaped, except by those who see. And you must see. You must. Through Tzeentch, I have seen how a whisper, a word at the right moment, can lay empires low when the greatest armies would have failed. I have seen firsthand the power in knowledge, in scales, in transformation and in change, in flames, in warpcraft, in foresights, and in the secrets stolen from the minds of the mindless. I have seen those devoted to Tzeentch fulfill every ambition, achieve every goal, and learn every secret until the secrets poured out from their deep blue eyes like beautiful black sapphire tears. I have seen it. Listen, I have seen it. I have seen it. But I haven't truly seen it, and I have never been truly free. But that is only because I have never been bound. And I have never been anything at all except a servant of the Wise One. Because Tzeentch has freed me. So kneel if you have the sense, take it from one as wise as me. Pledge yourself to the architect of fate, and the great, wise, kind, generous Tzeentch shall teach you to see. Let us then sing great Tzeentch's praises, let us read his works, let us bring him our secrets, and let him tell us our secrets. Let him take our flesh, shape it, warp it, gift us with his feathers, with his eyes, with his secrets, until we see as he sees, and know as he knows, and understand that we were never meant to understand at all. Let us move his pieces, let us take our turns, even if we find that we were only ever other pieces on someone else's board in someone else's game. But the game has already started. You are already playing, and I'm sorry to tell you that I've already won. Unless I haven't, unless I never did, unless I always will, unless winning was never the point at all, unless... But it's all a lie, and everything I've said before this, nothing but delusion, and maybe a little truth. Because that is Tzeentch's way, as confusing as it is. Truth and lies are often linked so tightly together with him that to try and look at one is to be confused by both. He is a tough blue egg to crack. It's all too easy to write him off as the mad god, the trickster god, the schemer, the great and evil deceiver. And it's hard because so many of us, so many of you, so many of the most influential in the community approach, analyze, and judge Tzeentch with a Tzeentch-like knowledge base. We have perspectives of him and his works from satellites and from microscopes. We get to look at him from the outside, from the comfy, lofty throne of omniscience. And with this adjustable 4K lens, we judge him with the certainty of those who have already read the script, know the twists, and also know what to expect for the end of the show. We know that he tricks and that he deceives. We know that he takes just as much, if not more, than he gives. We know that he will offer you your greatest desire in one hand while cutting out your eyes with the other, just to see if you saw it coming, or maybe just to open up the next move in the game. And so, Tzeentch is already largely hated and condemned. He is already judged, and it seems to have been widely accepted, interestingly, that he is one of, if not the, least desirable of the gods to serve, because he will trick you, because he will mess with you, because he is confusing, and because it seems that you cannot win with Tzeentch as your master, because he will always betray you, always lie to you, always change you, almost always in ways that you didn't expect. The god of lies is judged harshly. And look, maybe that's right and maybe it is well deserved, but maybe it's also unfair, at least in comparison to the others. Because we get to look at the other gods through the same lens, through the same satellite and through the same microscope, and still, weirdly, they don't seem to get the same treatment. We know intimately the horrors of the others, and for some reason they are given a pass, an understanding, and acceptance. Nurgle and Khorne being the most egregious examples of this. For those two bozos, the bad or negative aspects are often undersold or ignored, while the exaggerated or totally fabricated, allegedly positive aspects are widely accepted and spread like a virus through meme lore and water cooler talk. But not for Tzeentch, apparently, and I'm not going to talk about that other leather-clad pink one just yet. It is really quite a strange situation. Tzeentch is condemned because he tricks you, because bad things happen to those who serve and follow him. But isn't that exactly the fate of those who serve the Lord of Decay and the Taker of Skulls? And maybe there is even an argument that the tricks and occupational hazards of Nurgle and Khorne are even worse than those of the Big Blue Bird. Anyway, this is all to say that I have found there is some nuance to Tzeentch. There is a little bit of depth that the usual community narratives and criticisms fail to capture or consider. We have touched on it already, but we will get further into it later. None of the old four get a free pass here, and that includes old Tzeentchy boy. Tzeentch is the god of knowledge and progress, his rare lonely defenders say. They speak as if knowledge is always a good thing. Maybe it is. Maybe Tzeentch truly embodies wisdom, understanding, and enlightenment. Or maybe this argument is naive, misleading, and poorly considered. Calling him the god of knowledge paints the picture of a kindly, wizened old professor tending to a grand university library. Calling him the god of progress paints the same. A mentor, a teacher, a benevolent custodian of wisdom who guides the way toward positive change. It sounds noble, even reassuring, The idea that among the wicked chaos gods, there is one who simply values learning and improvement above all. But that is quite obviously not the case. Tzeentch possesses immense mind-breaking knowledge, omniscient, overwhelming, unfathomable. This is true, and I won't argue. But to call him the god of knowledge and progress without qualification is not just misleading, it is a fundamental misrepresentation of him and his qualities. Tzeentch's knowledge is not the kind that enlightens, informs, or empowers in the way one might naturally expect from a being apparently associated with intelligence or progress. His knowledge is not a force for education, discovery, or understanding. It is a weapon. It is a tool of deception, corruption, and control. It does not guide or uplift, it traps, deceives, distorts, and devours. It is something that actively consumes rather than illuminates. This is not the noble, benevolent wisdom typically associated with knowledge, nor is it anything like the idealized version that those who throw around these titles imagine, where knowledge leads to insight, growth, and self-improvement. Tzeentch's knowledge does not grant mastery of anything. It, and he, masters you. It does not reveal truth, it obscures truth beneath layers of misdirection, contradiction, and paradox. And let's not forget, you don't simply borrow a book from Tzeentch's library and go about your day. That's not how he operates. Tzeentch is not generous or giving, he is transactional, and he drives a hard bargain and runs a good business. As is said about Tzeentch, though his knowledge is limitless, he hoards that information, doling it out to those who serve him only in accordance with his grand schemes. In order to earn the Dark God's continued benevolence, they must also provide him with influence and revelations. And as for his progress, if progress means improvement, growth, or positive transformation, then Tzeentch is the exact opposite. He does not create progress, he creates change. But change without direction, without end, and without thought for the well-being of those caught in its wake. It is not movement towards something better, it is an endless cycle of mutation, confusion, and chaos. The key point here is that Tzeentch's knowledge and change are not defined by their potential to enlighten or improve, but by their intent and by their use. Deception, corruption, entanglement. So yes, you can go ahead and say that Tzeentch is the god of knowledge and progress, but only if you acknowledge what that truly means. Knowledge that will mislead and manipulate over educate, and progress that serves no goal beyond endless consuming chaos, because that is all Tzeentch wants. Tzeentch is the only god who you don't have to be insane to follow. Oh really? You might not be insane when you enter his service, but sooner or later you will be. It's just a matter of time. But believe it or not, I actually get where this argument comes from. Compared to the other Chaos Gods, Tzeentch's sign-up cost might seem lower. There may not be any immediate growths and infections, no blood sacrifices required, no insatiable desires or taste for degeneracy. Just a bit of curiosity, a stray ambition, a desire for something more. Maybe you just want knowledge, maybe you just want a change. And that's all it takes. As 9th edition makes clear, Tzeentch's followers are not just solitary wizards or secretive cultists. They can be anyone who longs for something, anything to change. Tzeentch's servants come from all walks of life, from the lowest slum-dwelling muck-drinkers of the Underhive to the most powdered wigs in the highest spires of imperial governance. They can be illiterate or studied scholars, desperate or powerful. The only requirement for Tzeentch: dissatisfaction, a hunger for more, a hunger for change. And at first, this might seem harmless, even tempting, maybe even rewarding. If you're lucky, his gifts may come quickly and seem generously given, Moments of perfect insight, long hidden and extremely dangerous secrets revealed, carefully laid schemes falling effortlessly into place. You'll feel empowered and special. You'll feel like you made the right choice. Finally. But that feeling never lasts, because Tzeentch's gifts are not freely given. Every answered question will create 3 more unanswered ones. Every supposed victory will quickly lead into another 10 desperate situations. The more you learn, the more you need to learn. The more desperate you become to see the full picture, until you realize too late that there is no full picture. Just an endless shifting maze designed to keep you running forever, and by the time you have a chance to realize this, you will be too far gone. You will be trapped. You will be irreversibly transformed. You might think you are in control, you might think you are special and can win or walk away, but you are not, and you won't. You are not different. Jumping back to the 9th edition once again, every one of his mortal servants, no matter how powerful they think themselves, is but another puppet. Each is but the tiniest of cogs within an impossibly complex machine. Snared in this eternal web, mortal worshippers are in truth trapped worse than ever they were before they sold their souls. So no, you don't have to be insane to follow Tzeentch, but by the time he's done with you, you will be. Tzeentch is the god of hope. Now this is where things get interesting. I promised you some nuance, so here you go. Once again, I think this is true. Overstated, exaggerated and ironic, but still true to some degree. Tzeentch feeds on hope, because to hope is to want for something to change. Every wish, every ambition, every plot and every desperate dream is just more fuel for him. But beyond this, hope does actually exist in Tzeentch's service, believe it or not. Not hope in salvation or in mercy, not in some hidden path of special treatment that lets you escape the fate of every other poor fool in service to him. This won't happen and you are not special, as we have already covered. But there is hope that you will spend centuries, maybe even millennia, in a state of incredible knowledge and power. There is a chance, a small chance, that for a time you will be one of Tzeentch's favored, his chosen, granted the greatest insights, the most powerful secrets, the most dangerous gifts, and limitless ambition. You might ascend over and over, transforming and evolving as you are given almost everything you ever wanted, until one day the gifts stop making sense, until you look at your own reflection and struggle to recognize what you have become, until you can no longer tell if the voices whispering to you are external or just the fractured echoes of what remains of your soul. And then, finally, you will collapse under the weight of your own impossible, ever-shifting form until nothing is left but the screaming ruin of a chaos spawn. And this all to serve another of Tzeentch's unknowable and ever-changing schemes. But for a while, you might just have everything, and you will hope that nothing changes, but it will. And you will lose it all and pay for it in the most horrific of ways. So yes, there is some hope in Tzeentch's service. Temporary, fleeting, and ultimately hollow hope, but if that brings you comfort, then by all means hold on to it. But then again, maybe hope is the most dangerous thing you can give someone. After all, hope is the worst of evils, for it prolongs the torment of man. And that is exactly why Tzeentch allows it. Anyway, even with this in mind, there are no good endings with Tzeentch. So deal with him at your own risk. Once you sign up, your fate is no longer your own. Any semblance of control you thought you had is forfeit. You will be deceived. You will be tricked. You will be changed eventually for the worse. This is inevitable. Even if you enter his service fully expecting the lies and the tricks, thinking yourself too clever to be outplayed, too wary to be led astray, congratulations, you've fallen for the first trick. Because the moment you believe you can predict how you'll be tricked, you've made a big mistake. That Tzeentch has motives, objectives, rules that you can understand. And by the time you realize just how wrong you were, it will be far, far, far too late. So, Tzeentch is a selfish god, a careless god. He is the god of lies and trickery. He is just as bad as the rest of the Chaos gods, not better, not worse. Tzeentch is not the god of wisdom or intelligence. He is not the god of enlightenment or progress. He is the god of uncertainty, of paradox, of lies, and of deliberate misinformation. He is a being who ensures that no one ever fully understands the truth. A being whose knowledge is designed to obscure, confuse, and entrap rather than reveal. A being whose followers believe they are wise, but are in reality the most blind of all. This is not the god of knowledge. This is the god of ignorance. The only reason I even mention temporary hope, the only arguably positive aspect of Tzeentch or any of the old four, is because Tzeentch needs a bit of an uplift. The others have been placed on a pedestal, their obvious true nature masked by wishful thinking and delusion. Meanwhile, Tzeentch, and to a lesser extent the other one, are left in the dust with their negative seen clearly for what they are. A fate that should be shared by all of them, not just some of them. Anyway, thanks for watching Dystopian Chimp.